Floating like a stepping stone between the main island of Kyushu and the Korean peninsula is the border island of Tsushima, Nagasaki Prefecture. On its coast, a massive garbage has washed ashore.
This island is where the biggest volume of marine plastic debris comes ashore, and you could say it epitomizes the sea-related social issues we face.
Tsuyoshi Maeda is an employee of the Tsushima City office carrying out activities to promote social development goals, or SDGs. What kind of debris drifts onto the island?
We get a lot of polystyrene in buoys like this.
There's fishing equipment, such as ropes and floats, and even...
At first glance, there's a lot of fishing-related items, but you also see many daily-use containers and plastic bottles.
There are also sandals, containers still filled with liquid, and various other waste produced in people's daily lives.
You could really say almost everything we use in our daily lives washes ashore. Even things that may surprise you. Even mannequins float to our coast.
On that coast of Tsushima is a group of students. This is actually a field trip of a junior high school on the island. The students collect plastic bottles that have washed ashore and find out which country they came from. Using the words on the labels and caps, as well as the national IDs contained in the barcodes as reference, they identify the country of origin.
This is Japanese, isn't it?
No, it's the best-selling water in China.
The results of their investigation on this day reveals
Three are from Vietnam, and one is from Indonesia.
37 are from Japan.
87 from South Korea. 131 from China.
more debris from overseas than from Japan drifts onto Tsushima. The reason is the unique geography of Tsushima. Tsushima is an island in the Tsushima Strait between Japan's Kyushu region and South Korea, and the mouth from where the current from the East China Sea flows into the Sea of Japan. Due to factors such as the Tsushima Current and the seasonal northwest monsoon, large amounts of debris are carried to its shores. As a result, Tsushima is known as the top landing point of marine debris. This field trip to collect such debris was organized to get students to learn more about the situation. They had come to this coast 3 months earlier to collect plastic bottles. But in that time, this much has washed up again. Among the marine debris that Tsushima deals with, especially troublesome is
this. What's called microplastic, that's smaller than 5 millimeters.
At first glance, they appear to be pebbles, but most of these transparent or colored grains and shards are plastic.
They're originally polystyrene, or plastic containers that have deteriorated or disintegrated because of UV rays and the waves.
Degraded by ultraviolet rays and pounded by waves, plastic is broken down into small pieces. Those that have been shattered into sizes of 5 millimeters or less are called microplastic. Ingested by marine life, microplastics accumulate in their bodies, and there are concerns that people who in turn eat such fish will suffer from adverse health effects. It's said that the volume of microplastics in waters around Japan is 27 times higher than the global average. Local officials worry that the microplastics produced by the debris collecting in Tsushima are being carried by currents to other regions. What is the city doing about it?
Because of UV rays and the power of waves, a tremendous amount of microplastics is being produced around this island. Tsushima is becoming the breeding ground of microplastics. It's important to collect and deal with the debris as soon as possible, before it disintegrates.
To minimize the spread of microplastics, Tsushima collects plastic debris before it breaks down. It's processed at this facility. This is Toshiya Fukushima, a city official working on the marine debris problem.
The processing cost of a bag full of the stuff is about $70.
He says they have to spend about $70 for the final disposal of a bag of debris at landfill sites and other facilities. With about 8,000 bags brought in every year, the cost is massive. So they launched an initiative to reuse the plastic. The plastic collected is put into this machine. And, as seen here, chopped into small pieces. This is sold to companies, helping to reduce the disposal cost. How do companies use the chips of plastic they buy? For instance, this shopping basket. The chips are melted, then rehardened and reused. Other examples include refillable bottles, ballpoint pens, and sunglasses. They're reborn into various products. Mr. Maeda, who has been fighting to protect the sea from floating debris, has a mission.
Unless we change our way of mass consumption and disposal, we won't be able to stamp out the problem. Japanese people have long cherished a culture of mottainai, of not wasting things. And I'm sure Japan can lead the world in solving the problem of marine debris.
Plastic debris in the oceans is a critical issue for the world. Every year, 8 million tons of plastic debris are dumped from the land into the oceans. That figure is equivalent to 50,000 160-ton jet planes being thrown away. If this trend continues, the weight of marine debris is forecast to surpass that of fish around the world. To tackle the problem, experts in various disciplines are sharing information on the current situation and issues surrounding marine pollution. They hold wide-ranging discussions on the role that Japan can play and publish relevant data.
Solving the marine plastic debris problem is a pressing issue.
Business leaders are also starting to put greater priority on the conservation of the marine environment. One of those is Yusuke Saraya, of Saraya. He has personally visited Tsushima to study the current situation of plastic debris in the island's waters. In addition, the company has become a supporter of the Blue Ocean Dome, one of the pavilions of the 2025 Osaka Kansai Expo.
When we started focusing on the plastic problem, people said, let the polluting countries deal with it. Why should Saraya have to do it? But I couldn't just see and ignore it. I felt strongly that we needed to do something about it. And doing that as a business is the challenge we face going forward.
Rengo is another company that is already taking on the challenge as a business. Their core business is the production of cardboard and cellophane. But to reduce marine plastic debris, they developed a certain material.
This is a material to replace plastic. The particles biodegrade in nature.
This is Viscopearl, the new material they developed to replace plastic beads. Typical petroleum-derived plastic doesn't biodegrade in nature. But as this new material is plant-derived, it has the characteristic of being broken down by microorganisms. It's seen as a potential ingredient for facial cleansing scrubs and cosmetics, such as lipstick.
Cosmetics and facial scrubs are very small products, but we believe it will allow us to start contributing to environmental conservation.
They aim to pursue marine conservation not as a volunteer, but as a business. They say it's essential in protecting the future of the ocean. The Republic of Mauritius is a small island country to the east of Madagascar that's known as a vacation resort. It boasts clear blue waters. A project has been launched here to protect this pristine natural environment. It's an initiative to protect the mangrove forests. Mangroves play a significant role in nature, absorbing carbon dioxide and providing a habitat for fish. What's more, they're seen to act as a breakwater against river currents. But their numbers have declined around the world due to deforestation and environmental changes. And there are worries that the ecological balance could be disrupted. In Mauritius, efforts are underway to restore the mangroves. The project is being carried out by major marine transport company Mitsui O.S.K. Lines.
After a cargo ship we chartered and operated called Wakashio ran aground and caused an oil spill in 2020, we established a fund aimed at providing support to Mauritius. Our specific activities include joint mangrove conservation and research with the local community, and research to restore and protect coral reefs. Through these efforts, we believe we're contributing to building a foundation for a blue economy.
The waters of Tsushima, Nagasaki Prefecture, also face an ecological crisis. Mamoru Kamata, who carries out free dive fishing, took us to the location. What's happening in these waters now? Taking a look with an underwater drone. Shown is a clear sea. There doesn't seem to be any problem, but
there used to be seaweed everywhere. But throughout the sea around Tsushima, there's nothing now.
Seaweed that filled the sea at one time began disappearing from around the 1990s, and where Mr. Kamata fishes, it completely vanished 8 years ago.
Not even a single one grew the following year and the year after. That's denudation.
Denudation is a phenomenon of seaweed becoming extinct. It's also referred to as sea desertification. As a result, there are grave concerns about ecological decimation.
When there's no seaweed, marine life loses its habitat. With seaweed, there's no knowing how much of the environment we could have conserved.
The loss of seaweed that provides food and a habitat for marine life has had a big impact on the fishing industry. Denudation is a problem not only in Tsushima, but is spreading to waters across the country. One possible reason is said to be rising sea temperatures due to global warming. It's believed that has caused seaweed to wilt and stop growing. Additionally, rising sea temperatures are behind another cause of denudation. We spoke to Yutoku Inuzuka, who runs a fisheries company with his family.
Marine life, fish that you typically don't see from the south, feed on the seaweed and stay in the area.
That fish is the lowfin drummer. It typically inhabits temperate and tropical waters. But with the rise in sea temperatures, it is now frequently seen in Tsushima as well. One of its traits is that it's a big eater. This is seaweed eaten by lowfin drummers, torn apart by their sharp teeth. Such lowfin drummers are frequently caught in fishermen's nets, but
they stink. They're also called nekomatagi.
Nekomatagi is a Japanese word meaning fish that stinks so much that even cats won't eat it and will walk away from it.
And because of its smell, people don't want to buy it, and it won't sell for any price.
In addition to devouring seaweed, lowfish drummers are considered a nuisance that can't be sold for consumption. Efforts are being made to somehow use lowfin drummers.
It's their blood that stinks. To process it, first, we trim this bloody part.
They remove the dark flesh that's the cause of the smell and rinse the meat in water to remove the odor. Then it can be made into a product served at this restaurant. That product is minced lowfin drummer cutlet. The meat is tender, and the fluffy texture is said to be a big draw. It's the brainchild of Mr. Inuzuka's mother.
We were getting rid of the fish and throwing it away or incinerating it and not utilizing it. I thought it was a waste. It is, isn't it? So then I thought, why not make it tasty and eat it? That's a mother's idea, to eat it in a tasty way.
If it can be prepared into a delicious food, fishermen would be more willing to catch it, and that would help protect the seaweed. The minced meat cutlet was born from that idea. Impressively, it won a fisheries food competition in 2019. Minced low-fin drummer meat cutlet is also sold online as a local specialty. It's served at all primary and secondary schools on the island and has become widely available. And to put a stop to denudation of the seabed, Tsushima fisherman Mr. Kamata is also taking action.
That's it. See that black thing? That's it.
A box in the sea. Inside, is this seaweed?
We're reviving a type of seaweed called Eklonia cava.
He's working to restore seaweed in the sea. In the past, Eklonia cava grew throughout the Tsushima Sea, and he's growing it in boxes to prevent it from being eaten by fish. His aim is to revive the sea of Tsushima that was once filled with seaweed. Others are employing different methods to restore seaweed. Looking underwater here, there's a steel box similar to the one seen earlier. Inside is a vase-like object. Hisanori Tayama left his office job and set up a marine conservation group to save the sea of Tsushima from denudation.
It's like a farm filled with fertilizer and planted with seaweed spores to create an environment where it can easily grow. We're carrying out practical trials to grow seaweed artificially.
Balls filled with fertilizer are planted with seaweed spores and lowered into the sea. What he hopes to build is a seaweed farm where marine life gathers. It's mundane and time-consuming work.
I know it's going to be very dull and a long battle, but the sea has dried up over many years, so we have no choice but to spend many years bringing it back again.